War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. Always heavy on the sports here on this channel, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We appreciate you hanging out with us however often you can, however long you can. We just appreciate you spending some of your valued time here with us on this channel. On tonight's live stream, as is the case on every Wednesday night, it's open call-in night. Headphones are on. We'll open those lines up in just a second, and we'll tell you how to take advantage of that in just a second as well. But this live stream is focused for the one thing that I think everybody in the world loves: recruiting. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. I know one person, at least Clint, who doesn't like recruiting. But today on this channel, we love recruiting, and we're going to discuss. Let me pull that down just a little bit here. We're going to discuss it in detail. However you want to call it, early signing day, first signing day, national signing day. We're going to discuss all the players that committed to Auburn, signed letters of intent, and what they mean for the future. Just want to really hear y'all's reaction to it. We've already done a video today talking about our takeaways from the actual everything surrounding national signing day today. Didn't really get into like specifics about players, minus one or two of those, and we'll save some more of that discussion for tonight. I just really want to hear your reactions, your impressions of what you took away, the big people that stick out to you from national signing. That is what this stream is about tonight. We appreciate you joining in with us. A couple things you can do for us as we get started tonight. If you enjoyed this type of content, please do make sure you smash that like button here on YouTube. We are broadcasting live on Facebook and Twitter as well. Y'all can do the similar thing there with retweets and all that kind of stuff. Share it out on social media as well, to Facebook groups, anything you can do to attract more of the Auburn family in here to join the conversation with us. Please do, have them join in with us, because it's always more the merrier. Those are the things that you can do for us, and we'll talk about ways you can support content here on this channel and other things throughout the stream tonight. But we should go ahead and get this thing started tonight with opening up the call lines live right now. You call in, we'll put you on here as long as you behave yourself. So how do you do that? If you look at the top of the chat window, there is a link, or it should be posted up there. It always scares me because of my apparatus I have here. It doesn't show it completely sometimes. But there should be a call-in link right up there. If not, I can repost it. I may do it a couple times throughout the stream tonight. But check that out. You click on it. You can do it on your mobile phone. It's really easy. You don't have to be on camera, but you can. It can just be your voice, just like you're calling in on a phone line. But we want to hear from you tonight. So don't be shy. Please do call in, and let's talk about National Signing Day. We got a lot of people already assembling here. Great crowd. Thank y'all so much for being here. He says, War dang it, Benjamin. Good to see you as well. Cohen, good to see you. And Harsin, we trust. I think a lot of people had their faith renewed or solidified in Coach Harsin today. I don't know why it was rocky to start with. You had the right expectations for everything. I think that's part of the reason that I think a lot of you who've been here on this channel know that I don't invest as much in recruiting. It's not that I don't like it, don't enjoy it, and don't like talking about it. It's just I used to be so into this that I realized it was unhealthy. So now I really only get invested on National Signing Day. And that's probably even taking a little bit too much to me, because I spent all day invested in this. And it was fun. Had a lot of fun on National Signing Day. But I hope that you have your faith renewed or solidified in Coach Harsin, his ability to recruit not just Alabama, the Southeast, but beyond as well. There's a lot of things that you can take away from Auburn's performance on National Signing Day that should make you feel really good about Coach, his staff, and where the program's at after a very tumultuous two seasons that it's been through, along with some others as well. Felix, one of our Booster Club members, but also channel members here. Thank you so much, sir, for hanging out with us. I appreciate it so much. And for your support as per usual. Thomas as well is here. Good to see you. Let's see. Double checking some things here. Let's see. Like Gus loved Auburn. Harsin, in your opinion, has less than a year embraced and become twice the Auburn personality that Gus was. I don't agree with that, really, Jack. I agree that he's a different personality, and I should have been prepared on this front for this type of conversation, but there has been someone, I think it was on a Facebook group, posted this messaging about Harsin, about Gus, and about the differences and how both are valid. Both are neither right nor wrong. And it's just a big transition period between the two of them. And to degrade one for the success of the other, either way you do that, is not doing justice, is not giving, is not fair to the other. And I'm not saying you're doing that, Jack, but that's kind of what this reminded me of. But yes, I think Carson does things a much different way. It's probably a good thing, right? Little refreshing things every once in a while is kind of nice, whether you like it or not. Can't argue with that. But yeah, let's see. Jerry says, pretty good class, should have signed more O-line. Well, you should have, right? Meaning if it was done, but it's not done. Got one more signing day in February. What used to be the original signing day. I'll be honest, I kind of hate that signing day now has become this time of year because it's kind of taken away from February where there's basically nothing going on. I hate January and February. It's after the holidays. I love Christmas, by the way. I didn't forgot to turn my lights on back here. Oh, well, it'll have to do for the night. It's been busy all day here. I love Christmas. I hate January and February because it's cold. The only thing good is just basketball. And then, you're like waiting for March Madness to get here too. So the only thing good in February was signing day or leading up to it. And now that's kind of like, it's taken away a little bit of the sting of it, or not the sting, but the goodness of it, because that is what all those emotions and stuff we're building towards. And now it's here, and we kind of experienced that today. So I don't know what I'm complaining about, but that's just the way I feel about it. Is that official? That's on his Instagram account? Because apparently, everybody else was saying on message boards and media beat writers saying that was confirmed, that he was put himself in and took himself out. Good to hear if that's the case. Want to have him here for the long haul, because we will definitely need him next year. His ability to break tackles when no running room is given to him whatsoever. Frederick, good to see you. Thank you for being here. And let's see here. We got somebody on Facebook. Good to see you, Courtney. My concern is offensive line. Will we go after transfers? So remember, and I guess maybe I assume that everybody's well educated on signing day, what happens when it happens, all that kind of stuff. Remember, there's one more signing day. Recruiting for this cycle is not over. There is ample opportunities to get more offensive linemen. And I think the way that you need to view the success of this day is that in a lot of areas, we're shored up today. So now the focus can shift strongly to offensive line recruits, offensive line transfers, offensive line portals, whatever it needs to be. Those other areas have been kind of shored up for the most part. So now you can focus on things that have to get fixed. And let's not forget that I want to pull his stats up right here. Eston Harris, or EJ, however you want to call him. I think he prefers EJ because that's what they listed him as on the broadcast today for Auburn. But Eston Harris Jr. from Auburn, Alabama, hometown guy. That's a huge pickup. He could be the linchpin for the revamp of this offensive line. I know a lot of you think it's going to happen next year. I know a lot of you want it to happen. I want it to happen next year. It's not going to. Eston Harris, though, could be the start of the new wave. Hometown guy, loves this place, loves the town. And, just because he's a 3-star, because this is a site I'm looking at right now, doesn't mean a thing. Forget the stars, forget the rankings, forget all that. I know y'all hear me saying that. I know some of y'all roll your eyes at me when I say that, but I mean that. And I promise you, if you'll stop focusing on rankings, stop focusing on stars, stop focusing on numbers of who we got. Worry about who we got and worry about who's here. That's the important thing. Let's see here. I need to get caught up here in chat. Jack says, Armella, Cooper, Woody, all O-line targets have decided to wait till February. We're going to get at least 2 to 3 of them. And Quick, right? Is that who you're talking? No, you didn't. Riley Quick. I thought he was in there as well as a potential offensive lineman. And remember, we lost Drew Bobo. I mean, that's kind of understood, right? You fire his dad, can't really expect him to come over here. Not really going to be a good fit at that point. It took him a lot longer, I will be honest, to pull the trigger on no longer being committed. And he never really uncommitted. He just went over to Georgia without even much of a say. But I think everybody knew. Corey, good to see you. Thanks for being here. One of our Booster Club members. Thank you, sir, for your support. Hope you guys are enjoying some of those tidbits we've been dropping. That certain news item that's already been kind of announced. That should become official tomorrow. There's speculation now that it may not be, but that's the world that we live in. Sometimes everybody thinks they got the information and then suddenly they don't. Devin, good to see you. Another one of our Booster Club members. Thank you for support. Same thing here with Dusty, Booster and channel member. Thank you so much. Benjamin says, let's say we have a good quarterback next year. Are we better given our current position depth? So are you assuming that Holden Gernier, is that how you say it, is not a good quarterback? I may be putting words in your mouth, but that's kind of what that sounds like, that you're overlooking that. Auburn got their quarterback. I feel I like him a lot. I think you don't need to assume that we don't go get it. I mean, we'll probably, if there's a great quarterback out there, you go get him. If you have an opportunity to bring a talent in, no matter what position is, what it is, you take that opportunity, right? So if the number one quarterback is high on Auburn, why wouldn't you take him and let him come in and compete for the job? So that, I mean, I will relent to that. But at the same point, remember, we've got a quarterback. We've got several quarterback options here. TJ's still here for the moment. Demetrius is still here for the moment. Don't see Holden, he just signed today. Don't see him really go anywhere. That's 3 good options to go with right there. We had a good option. Not going to open that door again, but let's see here. Kyle, call up Russell Wilson and tell him to throw up a couple of turds and get this season over with so we can get our OC. Hey, think about it this way, though, Corey. If he's the guy, which all indications are he will be and is, wouldn't you want him to have some success leaving? That would do a lot for you perception-wise, recruiting-wise, in terms of, hey, we got a guy who's doing really well at this level. So you can look at it both ways, right? Yeah, we want him early, but do we really need him? Especially if the assumption is that Coach Harsin is going to be calling plays. Do we really need him yet? I mean, I think we're okay for the bowl game. It's not like he's going to make a world of difference in 2 weeks because we haven't even talked about the bowl game yet. That's how crazy this has been. Devin says this is our first time following recruiting. It was fun. So Devin, let me give you this again. I said this. I don't know if you were here. Don't get too invested in it. I promise you, it will always let you down. But it's fun to kind of just keep it at arm's length and get really invested on the day of when people are actually putting pen to paper. But if you start following these message boards week in and week out, I know that hurts the beat writers for me to say that, but it's just the truth. It can get real toxic and real negative in those places. And no judgment if you choose to do that. That's just me, and that's just my advice that I give to people because I've experienced it. You notice Harsin acknowledged the GPA as a collective. He wants players who will devote themselves to the study of the game and their schooling. I think most coaches do, but it is nice for him to kind of acknowledge that and point that out. He's an all business type of guy, and business for him isn't just football. It's out everything else. He talks a lot about, winning in every aspect of your life. Thomas believes in our AD Green. I believe he will only bring in people who he truly believes are good for AU. Well, I would say everybody does that. It's not just they hire somebody to hire somebody, but some people have a better perspective of what that is and what that should be. Where are you going from Palm Beach? Good to see you, Linda. Linda's one of our Booster Club members. Thank you for your support. Solomon asked Damari Alston, do you think he's as good as advertised? I'll be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of tape on these guys because it's high school tape. It serves to, kind of give you a perspective of what type of player you're getting and stuff like that. So I'm not diminishing it. It's just not something that I highly value in. So I'm going to wait and see what happens when he gets on campus because he can look really good on tape in high school, but really bad when he gets here. Could. or it could just carry on over. It could be even better. I want to wait and see what happens when he gets on the floor. I know that's a boring answer, probably not what you wanted, but it's just the honest truth. All right. Might have to, again, as we get more and more people in tonight, it'll get a little bit more challenging to get every one of your calls in tonight, or your questions and stuff like that. One way you can guarantee you can be heard tonight is by calling in. You can do that at the top of the chat. There should be a click link. If it's not up there, let me know. I'll repost it. And I probably should do that from time to time, just as a formality anyway. And you guys can click that, call in on your phones too. No pressure whatsoever, though. And you can be on the show here, even if you don't want to be on camera, it can just be audio only. So I'll post it again there for those of you that want to take advantage of it. All right, let's move forward here a little bit and see what is going on. Corey says linebackers are solid now. Happy Flippamus Bama. So when I did my video today, just breaking down the overall storylines of signing day, that was one of those in there. How nice is it to turn the tables on Alabama and LSU, because they've done it too, not to the extent that Alabama does. I mean, Alabama for the longest time would literally find the one recruit that was susceptible to that and plant them every single time. And Coach Malzahn, to his credit, finally got wise on it and started dropping these guys. And then people would scream at him, "Oh, why did you let him go?" And I'm like, because he was going to flip. And you would see every time they cut him loose, he would just immediately commit to Alabama. You know, it's a dirty tactic, but if they're going to do it that way, we got to do it that way too. So what goes around comes around. It was a lot of fun watching that happen. And so now you're going to see the Bama fans, the story's going to be, well, we didn't want them anyway. We'll find out how bad you didn't or didn't want him when you're hurting at a linebacker position and you're wishing that you did have him. So I'm happy to have you. I forgot his full name. He's our top recruit now based on the site that I'm looking at. Robert Woodyard out of Mobile. Let's talk about that for a second. Not only the flip, not only do you pull a flip from Alabama, but you go into Mobile, which is an Alabama stronghold. It's hard to go in there and snag somebody from Alabama, especially top prospects out of there in the minds of the people that make these types of decisions, who's a top prospect. And Auburn does it. Coach Harsin does it in essentially year one, even though this is technically the start of year two, kind of, with this class. But it's an impressive feat for him to be able to pull that off. And you got to give him and his staff credit for not being afraid of that, going in there and saying, you know what? We're not only going to go in Mobile and get one, we're going to flip one. And so Flippamus has become the term of the day. I think everybody wants Dusty to call now after the great moment he had last time. I think we should just call it Dusty's list time. Or Dusty's shout outs. So Dusty, you've been asked to call in, so you can do it whatever you like if you want to tonight, sir. Let's see here. Yeah, I agree. It's a really good class, Rob. The thing for me, and I think it always depends on how you define a good class. If you define it by a ranking, you're gonna probably be subject to that going up and down. I define it, did we cover needs that we needed? Did we go and get some local guys? Did we go places we didn't typically go and get some guys? And we did all of those things. And that's just kind of arbitrary, throwing some metrics of my own out there, but those are things that show me success. And for that, I think this was a really good recruiting day. The class is not done yet. Remember that. A lot of you are forgetting that. The class is not done. KC says we want USC Keldon. I want to say Keldon for some reason, but Kedon Slovis is going to be the next quarterback next year. Well, you were also calling for a national championship this year, KC, at the beginning of the season. So sorry, I'm not trying to pick on you. You are the master of hyperbole, though. Yes, Rob. The winner of today, and credit goes to the entire staff, but Trevon Reed. And I think you can go find the story out there where they talked about how he was able to go on the road with firing Bobo. It opened up a slot. Only so many can go out on the road and go on visits and stuff like that. And this kid, he's an adult now. This Auburn man takes this opportunity by the horns and just goes out there and slays it. And listen, I don't think he was the lead recruiter in any of that, just based off of what I'm reading and seeing, but he sure as heck helped. And so when you combine Etheridge and Trevon Reed together, two guys that are Auburn men that know this place, that love this place, there's nothing better that sells Auburn than an Auburn person. Time and time again, it's happened. I have an Alabama fan. Every once in a while, you'll see him on here. Friend that I'm slowly convincing him to be an Auburn fan. He's already an Auburn basketball fan. He's even with Alabama's resurgence somewhat. He still likes Auburn basketball. And I've had him this close because I've sold him on some certain aspects of Auburn. Auburn sells itself, but if you get an Auburn person who knows how to sell it, it's over with. It's over with and done. Weiss from Oklahoma. I do not know that name. Of course, I haven't really investigated, so I'm probably not a good, thing on that. Let's see here. We still might have 2 more 4-star DL to sign later. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, so if a lot of people will remember that, I think I went online and I typed in how to say his name. I think it was the reason I know how to say it a little bit is because it's also kind of similar to the character of M'Baku from Marvel stuff. If you're a Marvel fan out there, he's from Black Panther. So it's Imba. It's like I think that's how you have to kind of pronounce that first part of it. But Jeffrey Imba is the guy who today he said he is signed, and he's going to announce it on the 19th. 4-star, if you care about those type of things, defensive lineman. And a lot of people think that Auburn is the front runner there. So you could have a silent commit there, which is going to be a great thing there. And remember, there's Caden Story, who was thinking about committing to or signing today, but changed his mind. And you can't blame the kid, right? A little bit of tumultuousness. You want to make sure you're doing the right thing for you. It's your future after all. So I hope that we can stay on him and bring him into the fold completely here by the next signing day. So we'll watch that. And remember Trey Donaldson as well, the hybrid basketball football commit, right? He, is there as well. And I think a lot of people favor him for his football skills. I think he's an athlete. What is he listed at on here? I think it was an athlete. Trey Donaldson. Where did you go, sir? This happened to me. There he is. Safety. He's listed as a safety. I think he at one point was listed as an athlete. But here's one thing for sure. You don't have to worry about cornerback or defensive back depth because we loaded up on them today. You've got, I'm going to try to count them here quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's technically 5 and 6. So I'm counting 6, possibly a 7th defensive back prospect in this class so far. The one I'm kind of waffling on is Amari Kelly. He's listed as an athlete, and those kind of go one way or the other. You never know, right? They could be anything, but I think most people see him as a wide receiver. That's kind of what I assumed he was personally. Yeah, I don't know, Felix, what they're putting in the water in Mobile, but there's some great athletes that come out of there. It's kind of like for the longest time, and it still is, Miami was that way, which is why you saw Auburn go into Miami a lot and kind of create a stronghold in there. One good thing that we have for us in the central to southern Florida realm is Jarris McIntyre. Now, obviously, he doesn't point people directly to Auburn, but you're an Auburn guy and you kind of are a good advocate for the school. He's at Tampa Catholic down there, which has had some pretty good athletes. I actually interviewed him on an episode of Auburn Roots. I feel like it was almost episode 21 or something like that. No, it would be 20. I think it was episode 25, actually. It would have been a 5 or a 0. I try to do them on the 5s. But that was a good conversation. You should go listen to that if you can. He's a great Auburn guy. All right, we got a good crowd assembling here. We're at 70 already. Keep smashing that like button if you haven't. Please do not be afraid to call in if you would like to. No pressure, though. Everybody wants Dusty story time. It's going to have to be a regular segment now on this one. Fresh Boy says, I'm not really impressed with the wide receivers of the O-line, but I'll wait though. Yes, I would wait on that. I don't. If you're not impressed with the wide receivers, why is that? Because you've got Omari Kelly, who's an athlete on this, but he's going to be a wide receiver. He's a four, and if you care about stars, 4-star. Let's pull back here a little bit. You've got Jay Fair, who's kind of a speed guy, 5'10", which is one of our most viewed videos that we did a while back, which is really interesting. It was a short thing that we did. And I think probably where some of the disappointment for wide receivers today is we were all kind of hoping that Darius Clemens would sign up with us, but he didn't. You asked, folks, and he arrives. He's inedible. He is Dusty. What's up, Dusty?
Well, man. Good evening, Kyle.
How are you feeling, buddy?
I'm really excited, man. I really am. I think we had a good day today.
It was a very fun day and a very fruitful day in all the right places, minus offensive line. But I don't think anybody, I think if you looked at who was available, who was expected,
Right.
you shouldn't have expected any offensive line buzz today. That would have been a huge surprise, and that would have amped this day up even more. But overall, I find very few things to be upset about.
Yeah. I just finished watching Coach Harsin's press conference,
Yeah.
and he gets asked a question about Holden, the quarterback, and he lights up. So if he feels that good about it, that's exciting for us.
Yeah.
And same thing with Sledge, the D tackle.
Yeah.
They really feel like that he's an underrated guy. And remember, they felt the same way about Jarquez, and they hit on
Mhm.
that one.
Yes, they did. I see. That's what I love. Is I know it's exciting with the 4 and the 5 stars, but to me, it's almost more fun to try to pinpoint that 3-star guy who's overlooked. Nobody big wanted him, and then Auburn will take a chance on him. And look what happens. Jarquez, as you said, was the perfect example of that. Deshaun Davis was the perfect example of that. Now Davis was injured his senior year. He probably would have been a high-rated guy if he had been able to play out his senior year. But I agree with you. Sledge, when I looked at that dude, I was like, that looks like a
313,
bad,
and he's
that's a
313 and
bad guy.
17 years old.
He looks like a good just football player. I'm excited about him. I'm excited about Jay Fair too for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's just because he's a good speedy guy. And I was kind of hoping today, we were going to get almost a speed guy, a tall guy, and then kind of just your stud wide receiver to kind of max. And I think that would have maximized. So that would have been Darius Clemens, obviously.
Right.
We didn't get that, but hey, I think it was kind of one of those coin flip type of situations, and you can't really invest all your time in that. I mean, were you disappointed? Or did you expect Darius Clemens, or did you expect anybody else to sign that didn't?
Um, I didn't expect Darius Clemens for the fact that we've been so hard. He was actually Harson's first offer,
Yeah,
first person I offered scholarship to. We've been on him for so long, and then when Oregon dropped out of the picture, the fact that he even took the trip to Michigan, it was just like, oh well, you're just not sold on something about Auburn.
right.
Um, and that's fine because here's the thing. You mentioned that Jay Fair is a speedy guy. And then the other, let's get his name is Camden Brown. Yeah, it's right there, Camden
Mhm.
Brown. So me and you both talk about we don't stars or whatever. But he's one of those that it's in between. He's a 3 on some, he's a 4 on another.
Right.
And he played at St. Thomas Aquinas down there. And I'm just telling you, I'm from Pensacola, the Panhandle. And every time that our teams come out of here, they go down there and play them in state, and we get worked. Like
Mm,
it's just a different deal down there. They're playing. Them are some boys down there. It's some real deal.
yeah.
So he's played against a lot of talent in a good program. That's a great program, St. Thomas Aquinas, and he's a Sammy Coates type.
Yeah.
So him and Jay Fair, they kind of counterbalance. He's a big kid. And he's only going to get bigger. So that's still a good pickup for us.
Oh, I loved it. It was almost kind of not the surprise because I knew most people were expecting of it, but it was
He
just kind
came
of
in
when
late.
yeah, he came in late to the balance, and like you said, I think he factors in really well with Jay Fair. They counterbalance their skill sets. He's a 6'3" guy, 190 pounds. He'll fill out a little bit more, and he could be a quite a bit of a handle for some people down the line. And I think that's kind of, you know, we talked about this a lot during the season. We haven't had a wide receiver step up and be the guy. You kind of have to have the guy. Do you
Yeah.
think Camden Brown could be that someday, or I mean, obviously we would hope regardless, but I mean, do you see anybody on Auburn's roster or that's coming in that could be that guy?
Well, just looking at next year, all the rumors are that Shanker's going to take his COVID year, and that is freaking huge, man. That's big. And then Kobe shows those flashes, so we all know how good Kobe Hudson can be, because he's shown it. That catch at Mississippi State shows you what it is.
Right.
It's just, can he find that consistency? So this will be a big off season for him. But those are two guys right there that are on the roster right now. I feel like next year have that potential. That 3rd and 8, get us that 9.
We could have thrown those fade routes if we had a guy, with the height and the build to get that. So you kind of questioned Bobo a little bit when he was doing that a lot. It's like, is that the right guy to be doing that situation with? But we digress. That's not
it wasn't the right one versus South Carolina. I promise you that was not.
Yes, that I agree
100%.
100%.
Yeah, whatever, but South Carolina, no.
Yeah. That one we can definitely all agree on. There, I think in the Penn State situation, everybody was kind of like split on it. That other one, everybody was like, there's not really much ground to stand on with that one. What else sticks out to you on signing day?
Javon Reed's efforts, like I talked about Monday night. And now I my understanding of it is, the way I've read it, correct me if I'm wrong, is that when Bobo got fired, that opened up a staff position, and then Javon Reed got that. So what I would encourage is that let's find that staff position for him full time, because you can obviously see how big the momentum picked up and everything. And then like those kids and the Brian Kelly, Ed Orgeron getting fired, that obviously allowed us to get those two guys from LSU, or at least get in the picture there. But nevertheless, you got to go get them. And even like the Rhyme from Valdosta, Georgia could have swooped in there. Camden Brown, he took his last official was to Georgia. So that's 2 battles right there. You're beating Georgia, you're beating LSU. And, like I said, I'm from Pensacola, Bruton area. I play these Mobile teams in sports. I know a lot about Mobile. That is Roll Tide country. They have absolutely got the stronghold on that. Going in there and flipping Woodward. That's huge. So we won some big battles, and then the JUCO guys, the DBs, and they even say that Austin Osbury, he might be able to plug and play right away. Because he's apparently a zone guy that he could fit Mason's scheme or whatever. Those JUCO guys, we can put them in right away to fill the hole with Smoke one day, Roger McCreary. So like you said, now we got that shirt up, but we can focus. These transfer portal and this rest of the signing period here, we can focus on the O-line.
I think that's the thing that I liked a lot about this day is, I probably would have liked it regardless, but if we had just kind of gotten a few over here for defensive back and a few over here for offensive line, I've been like, well, we didn't really complete what we needed there. But now that that's fully focused, now we've got the depth that we needed out that. We took, like I said, 6, 7 guys that could potentially be over there, either starting or depth, as they build and get better. Now it's time just to hone in who can we convince offensive line wise to be here, because those were the 2 positions that we all knew the offensive line was not going to be outstanding, just at least to start off, and they obviously didn't work out. Defensive backs was the biggest surprise outside of Roger McCreary and maybe some emerging talent out of there. So you obviously needed to figure that situation out. So the fact that is done, in my eyes, it's done. I'm not the coaches, obviously. They can say if they want another one. But I just feel really good about that situation. It just makes me feel like there's a plan and there's a vision for how this thing's going to finish out. And I think that's a lot of people are forgetting this isn't done yet. There's still one more to go, one more signing day to go. And it's going to be probably boring compared to this one. But who knows? You never know how we finish.
This is the period where they found Jarquez.
Yep.
So there's still some guys out there for sure. And I want to, the positions, like what guys hit and miss, it varies percentage wise by position. But if you look at offensive line, between 3 to 5 star, it just doesn't really matter. It's about 50-50. Like you got to see. And like we've talked about a million times, it's also about them coming together as a unit. That's it's all about communication and
Mhm.
everything down there and working. Them all working as one too. So like we can focus on it now. Personally, I've seen the stuff about some of these transfer quarterback guys. I feel like I said, Harsin loves Griner. And I just feel like Demetrius Davis is that dude.
Yeah.
I know that we ain't seen him play it down. I get it, but I just
No,
I like a guy,
I would much
especially with
rather.
our offensive line, man. Like you got a guy like that can make something out of nothing. And with what our offensive line situation is, it's no disrespect to TJ Finley. His game is what his game is. He's just 6'7" and he's not that mobile. Like we need a guy that can move, and especially in college, just the way it's a little less structured, a
Mhm.
little more helter skelter kind of deal. Get you a guy like D Davis that can turn a broken play into 15, 20 yards.
Yep. Yep. And listen, I would much rather us go with one of the guys we currently have, now counting Holden, than just a transfer in. Now, of course, those could be words I eat later when we bring somebody in that's we weren't expecting to. Cam Newton, Nick Marshall. But I listen, whoever downs those numbers for the quarterback, I'm down for it. I think Demetrius Davis has a lot of upside. I'm super excited. Is this his year to start? We'll find out. Does TJ Finley, if he stays, if nobody else transferred, does he start? I think he's got the leg up right now, just being the upperclassman. That doesn't mean that something doesn't change in the offseason. It's going to be really interesting. Where I think there was more made about the quarterback battle this year than there should have been at times. This next one could be interesting. I'll give you that. This is one I'm going to have to watch long and hard, because if it's between TJ, if it's between, Demetrius, you said it. He loves Holden. He lights up when he said it. Don't count it out. We've seen a true freshman start before. Don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be a fun offseason. I love it.
A-Day will be wild.
Oh, it'll be so wild. And especially if we get back to a normal A-Day, because, this year was a little bit different. Although I did like that. We won't hash that because this is signing day stuff, but that was a fun experience I had at A-Day and Fan Day this go around. Real quick, do you think we get Imba?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
The way that it all kind of looked, like the final updates on the message boards and everything last night, it all hit today. Like the way that everything I saw was people saying it was going to go,
Mm.
and everybody seems pretty good about that. And look, man, like I think that the perception is out there now. Like you can come play defense at Auburn and get to the league.
Mm-hmm.
So especially at defensive back, and keep sending them to the Bucks. By the way,
He's like, please bring him, please.
bring them, like send them all. All these mock drafts showing Roger McCreary to Tampa. I love it.
He's Dusty's over here just like fanning himself off. Yeah, DBU, man, is alive and well still at Auburn, and so it is evident that there's a path to the NFL through Auburn if you're a defensive back. We may not send a ton of them all at once in one year, but we send at least one every year, it seems like, and it's usually pretty
Just
high.
got a first team AP All-American. That's a big deal.
And more to come. If he does not sweep, I've run the numbers in my head, and not numbers, but I've just ran through this in my head. I don't see where they can say the Cincinnati guy is better than him. Like I'm not, no disrespect to the Cincinnati guy, no disrespect to what's his name out of LSU, but he didn't play a whole season. I get he had that one great season. Roger McCreary has the body of work. He should be number one on everybody's list. I didn't mean to go down that route, but I did because I love me some Roger McCreary. He's a Montgomery guy, and I love seeing 3 stars come in and prove everybody wrong. And that's the point of this stream tonight. I know the 4 stars, great. I think they're probably going to be just about as talented as you expect them to be, but I'm ready to see some of these 3 stars prove everybody wrong. So,
well, hey, Harsin, down there, that's kind of the level that he had to recruit at the Mountain West. So maybe that's kind of the area that he knows how to find those guys. And one more thing, man, when he talked in his press conference today, it kind of gave me hope when he talked about the O-line. He said, we got some guys right now that are on the team that you don't know about yet. And you've talked about all season. If Harsin says something in a press conference, it means something. So maybe he's seeing something in practice where some of those young guys are showing some good signs.
Yep. Yep, I think so. I think there is I don't want to make people think it's going to be next season, like you're just going to see this massive turnaround. But I can definitely see, and again, I don't mean to be mean to the guys that have been here, but it just hasn't been getting done. But there is a time for transition, and the transition alone, I think, will be beneficial for Auburn in that area. So we'll see what happens with offensive line recruiting. It'll get exciting, I'm sure. But hey, man, thanks for calling in tonight.
Yes, sir. War Eagle,
All right,
buddy.
War Eagle, man. All right, it's like right on cue. We've got another caller in real quick. It's one of our regulars here. Let's bring him in. Mr. Kevin, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, War Eagle.
War Eagle Kevin, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I think we did good in recruiting.
I know we did good in recruiting. How about that, huh? Who's your favorite guy in the class tonight?
I think we should have got that Kadarius Perry, but he went
Yeah.
to
Yeah, it's, listen, he don't want to be here. That's fine. He comes from my neck of the woods. So if I don't live there anymore, but I go frequent there all the time. So if I see him around Pike Road, I'll give him the business for you.
I can't believe that Robert Woodard.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He
wasn't
flipped to Auburn.
Wasn't that nice to give Alabama a little bit of taste of their own medicine?
How many 4-stars we got?
Well, based off the site that I'm looking at right now is my reference point. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like 8 if I didn't count too quickly. So 8 out of the 16, I think, that are currently, that's half. That's pretty good, right? If star and remember, I always tell you, don't worry so much about the stars. I mean, that doesn't mean that they're not good or they're not bad or anything like that, but that's pretty good. What did he say? I'm sorry. Who's the background there?
That's one of my friends. He said Auburn's awful. I said no.
Is that a Bama fan back there?
No, I'm at a church picnic, so I want to call in, see how was your Thanksgiving.
It was great, buddy. I appreciate you asking that. We're ready for Christmas over here, though. Christmas came early with Flippamus today, though. That whole flipping.
I'm glad Tank is staying.
Yep, that's a good sign for us. That's a good chance for people like Damari Alston to come in and not have to pressure of having to have a lot of playing time. He can learn the system, kind of get built up the way he needs to be. That's going to benefit us really well.
How many wide receivers we signed?
2. We got 3. Camden 2. We got Camden Story and Jay Fair. I was hoping we were going to have Darius Clemens.
It's not over yet. We might sign some more tonight.
We might. Well, Kevin, what about this? Real quick, do you think we get that defensive lineman Imba? Do you think we get him, the guy who's committing on the 19th?
Yeah.
You think we do? All right. Well, that's 2 predictions for Imba. So hopefully you and Dusty will be right.
Our basketball's doing good.
It is doing very well. We're going to probably talk some basketball a little bit later on. But yeah, we're going to focus on the recruits tonight. But hey, Kevin, thank you so much for calling in again, buddy. Appreciate you taking the time at your church event.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon, buddy.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. All right, that's great to hear from Dusty and Kevin. Those are 2 of our regulars that call in. Love to hear from some of you guys as well. See, it's not so bad. I don't bite that hard, that often. Let's see here. Stankopotamus, what a name, always gets me. I would like to see TJ put some free rushers in the dirt. Needs to be a little bit more physical. Yeah. It's hard for me to really criticize TJ and I'm not saying you are. I'm just, and it's hard to me to even really speak good about outside of that whole Georgia State situation, because he is put in situations that typically you wouldn't be put in if you're not the starter and stuff like. I don't know. I think TJ deserves, if he stays, an opportunity to have everybody's full consideration that he might be the quarterback that we need. But there's a lot of talent there. It's definitely going to be a lot of talent to look through there. Devin, great point. We talked about this in our video, the edited video we did earlier about how they did signing day. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I don't like gimmicks and things like that, but the more I thought about it, I thought this was a really good thing that they did. If you didn't watch on social media, what Auburn did was they kind of set it up almost like it was the NFL draft. They did the ding, 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 ding. I thought it was a terrible rendition on the NFL when the pick comes in and stuff like that. So the stage was set up that way. They had like kids come in just like in the NFL draft and announce who was signing. So just it's a small thing, but it's that starting that association. Most of these kids are wanting to go to the next level. This is just the next stop for them. Create that association that this is where they need to be if they want to get there. So the marketing was spot on. I love the way that they would announce the pick, I almost said the signing. They would do a little bit of a highlight reel underneath that one. And then right after that, this was the thing right here. When they did the coaches individually, it wasn't just like Harsin, I think, said something one time, but usually it was a positional coach or their lead recruiter or something that said something about each player, not just the 4 stars, not just the skill positions, the kicker too. People are forgetting that we just got the best kicker in the land. Said something specific about each of them on camera. You don't see that many places. It's great stuff. Neil's asking, Neil, we're probably going to talk about this tomorrow, so we might have to save that for tomorrow, but I don't know. But remember, the speculation is that Harsin's calling plays. So we're asking what Harsin will run. He'll probably say it's just multiple, whatever it needs to be. And said that too. Elect says 9 4 stars. I did count that very fast, so I probably missed that. So 9 out of the 16. Pretty good, right? 7. So 7 were 3 stars. It's a pretty good turnaround if that's the stuff that matters to you in terms of where Auburn was at. And I hope this goes, and we said this at the start of the show, I hope this goes to show you that if the recruiting cycle maybe doesn't start the way you want, if you're not seeing the fruits of the labor in terms of, remember, a commitment doesn't really mean anything these days. It's sad, but it's true. I'm not saying that as a knock on the players. It's just how things are. What matters is when they sign. Ask Alabama about how Flippamus went for them. So just remember, commitments, if you're not seeing them when you want to see them, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes players keep those cards close to their chest for their own reasons, but maybe the staff is having them do that as well. Yes, Corey, great point. Holden won a state championship. And that, I think anytime you are a state champion, the best player in that position, no matter what state it is, you're the best that represents that. Yeah, you might be a little bit behind some of the other states and the talent that's coming out of there. It still says something. But he came out of Georgia, and Georgia's a good talent. He won at 4A, I think, here, which is like 3 away from the top. Still pretty good. It depends on the site that you like. That you looked at. I think it's in the top 15. I think 12 I saw as high, and I think maybe that's changed probably because some other things. See, again, this is why I don't really care about the rankings, but I'm not trying to belittle everybody that did. It's just you're gonna hear this from me. I'm gonna kind of try to drive this in everybody's head here. Stop worrying about the rankings. We'll talk about them because I know that's important to some of y'all. Listen, it was incredible because they were in the 30s, like you said, and then marched all the way up there. And it goes to show you that it shows you that the staff has had a plan. Dusty and I talked about it. And that should put a lot of faith in everything that they do going forward. A lot of people question Harsin when he fired Cornelius Williams, the wide receiver coach. A lot of people questioned, him for keeping on Derek Mason. Bet you're happy he's here now, because I guarantee you he had a hand in recruiting some of these defensive backs today. Just remember that. It may not make sense to you at the start. Ask the questions why. Why did we not get offensive linemen today? Well, for one, Drew Bobo left. That was obvious. Others aren't ready to yet. You may not need to. I think they need to, but I don't have all that information. We are operating with about 25% of the information, if that. They have all of it. Oh man. I know it's not Auburn related, but this is a great point by Neil. We got to talk about this. What an incredible day today. There's always that one story out of signing days that's crazy, whether it's a player's mama ripping the letter of intent up and running away. They call it Faxgate, where the fax was never got in or something like that. Deion Sanders. Apparently, NIL came to roost in Tallahassee, in Jackson, Mississippi, and yeah, you just don't see that happen that often. I was thinking about it earlier. I think there was one time there was like a top 100 player that went to some FCS school, and it was the strangest thing ever. Maybe it was Jackson at the rate Deion's going. But to pull the number 2, number 1, whichever ranking you prefer, that's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Cohen, what type of QB is Holden? I don't know much about him. Well, they usually list this type of thing. I think he's listed as pro, but let's roll up here and see what they say. He is listed as quarterback. Awesome. So it's usually on a different page, and I'm gonna, well, can I shift over there real quick and let's see if they list him as dual as. Does not say the part that I'm looking at here. Yeah, don't see it. But from everything I remembered, even if he's not a dual, he looked to be pretty mobile. I know this is going to scare some people, but kind of reminded me of Bo a little bit. I could be wrong. He's the most recent one, so it'll be easy to make those type of connections. But we could do a lot worse than Bo. And I know that pains some of y'all to hear that. Great question. We talked about this a little earlier. Caden Story is still committed. He did not sign today. He announced that yesterday that he was not going to sign. He wants some more time to think about it. Understandable, right? These are these kids' lives. These are their futures, and so they need to make sure they get this thing right. And if they're not comfortable saying to Auburn, I don't want them to. It's not that I don't want them here. I don't want them to be forced into a situation where they feel uncomfortable, because then that's going to create other problems when they get here. Unhappiness, attrition, transferring in and out. Make sure you're comfortable with this situation if you're going to come here. Shadow, a great question. Do you think the name NIL pay is going to hurt or help? Well, it depends on what your perspective is on it. Will it help? It helped Jackson State today. That's clear. Will it hurt? I think it will hurt in the sense that if you're a traditionalist like me, it has changed the game of college football. And that is unfortunate in some ways, but it does solve a lot of problems in some other area. Do you think we'd be getting, and this is a petty thing, but do you think we'd be getting NCAA on EA Sports, a new video game, if this wasn't going down? No, we wouldn't. It really can be interpreted either way. I see the value for the people that love it. I see the hatred for the people that hate it. And I probably lean more, not towards the hatred, but disliking it. Just because I'm a traditionalist, not a big person on change. I like stability. You've been on this channel long enough, you know that is me. All right, we're running at about 8:55. I usually try to be done around 9-ish. I'm not leaving just yet, but we will kind of wrap up kind of quickly here. But still, get your questions and comments. I can take maybe like one more call if someone wants to get in. I'm going to go ahead and drop down the ticker, though, just so that we don't have people thinking it's still live. But it's still up there if you want to call in. I could probably take one more call if you'd like to do that. Real quick, check out the links in the description, ways that you can help support the content that we're doing here, whether it's our podcast, whether it's this YouTube channel with the videos we put, whether it's these streams, all that kind of stuff. There are ways down there to support it. We got our TeePublic site. There's a sale ending. You can get images, you can get our logo on a shirt and other Auburn related gear over there. I think it's 30% off they have doing that. You can become a channel member here. Hello to a lot of the people who are channel members here already. You can become a Booster Club member. All those are available for you in the description below. And like button if you haven't. All right, we got a caller. Let's take him. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy?
I'm back.
I see that. We got everybody back tonight. We've heard from Kevin. We've heard from Dusty. Gotta hear from Ryan now too. What's going on, buddy?
I would give Harsin today, if I had to give him a rating. I don't like rating things, but other people do, so I'm gonna give him like a B+. He did very, very good.
So, what would it have taken from Harsin today for you to give him an A?
Probably securing him. You mentioned the Oregon guy, the Oregon wide receiver. What's his name?
Darius Clemens,
and then Kadarius Penny was another big one.
Okay, yeah. Curtis Perry, is that who you were talking about?
Yeah.
Curtis Perry, yeah. So if he had gotten both of those, you would get an A, not one of them.
One or the other, I would give it an A.
Okay, but he would have knocked it out of the park if he had gotten both.
Yeah.
Oh, I would 100% agree. I think the three that were in question today were Justin Williams. Expected him to go to Tennessee, the running back, and we're kind of, they're not full at running back, but we got enough at the moment. Not that we wouldn't take somebody. You said Curtis Perry, and then you've got Darius Clemens. If we had swept the board with those three, the question marks, the big question marks, what a day, huh? It was a good day no matter what, but I would agree with you.
On the front side of things, Tank did officially announce on his IG, he put like a little video package on his IG saying, it was like saying like how he's the best running back in the SEC, like announcers and stuff saying that with his highlights and caption saying, I ain't going nowhere or something like that.
I think it was really easy to sell Tank on staying simply from what he can accomplish here.
Yeah, I think they just needed to tell him who was going to be the OC and who was calling plays.
Well, and think about it too. Wouldn't you be a little bit worried? You see Bo leaving, you see some other players leaving and stuff like that. It's kind of like, there's a little bit of instability here that I don't like. And that's why I'm a big fan of stability, because it makes some decisions much easier for certain players. The good thing is we've got Tank. Damari Alston can learn behind him, and I think that's a great thing.
Well, I'm gonna give us some thoughts to wrap up here.
Yep.
So I like who we're bringing in. I think it'll be like a combined playbook between Harsin's and his. They'll probably mesh it the way they like, and then Holden has a great guy to teach him, and a guy that's worked with Russell Wilson, a guy that's been there, done that. A guy that knows what it's take to be the cream of the crop and working with one of the arguably best quarterbacks in the NFL currently right now.
Yep.
So I think this may have been a move not only to develop Holden, but the other young quarterbacks in the room. They said, look, it may not be our first guy, but let's go get a guy that can get us a good quarterback right now, and who can develop quarterbacks.
Absolutely. You may be right on that. I mean, obviously, he went and got a guy that's not seasoned as much as others, so maybe the focus is going to be more on a more focused area. But yeah, so I think that could be it.
I'll be there in a minute.
Ryan, that was some great thoughts. I appreciate you calling in, buddy.
Welcome. My mom's yelling me to get a shower.
That's all right. I don't want to get you in trouble, so thank you for calling in, though.
Welcome.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Bye. War Eagle. All right. We're going to close down the phone lines. If you were trying to get in right now, I am sorry, but we will have to cut those off here. So to wrap up thoughts on signing day, and I think you'll kind of hear me rehash a lot of these points. Lots of good things today. And I think, let's see here. I see Dusty, the Dubs coming. I see all the real fans in the chat at 6 and 6. The hard times make the good ones that much better. I agree. So listen, lots of wins today. Some areas that were concerns got shored up. Some diamonds in the rough probably brought into the fold. And this is a trend in the right direction. And I hope that you now trust Harsin in this area if you didn't before. The other thing that I want to say is this, is that remember this excitement today. How excited you were for these players. My question to you is, will you be excited 1 year from now for them? 2 years from now? 3, 4? Or will you be one of those that's dogging them? Maybe they do deserve some criticism. But let's remember that. This is the Auburn family. And we shouldn't be doing things like calling them out on apparel and things like that. That's not what this is about. This is about being supportive of each other. You can be constructive on your criticism, but let's not be fickle about this. And on one day be, hey, it's awesome, you're here. And then 1 year, 2 years later, I can't stand having you here. Would you leave? So that's all I'm going to say on that. But I hope that you guys are excited. I hope you guys are hopeful for the future. And I hope you guys had a great signing day. We'll be back again soon. Stay tuned. Some big news coming out probably tomorrow. Hopefully. You never know. These things are just crazy sometimes. But I hope that you are excited for the news that's coming out, hopefully with confirming the OC. And we'll probably do a live stream somewhat around that. Thank you guys for calling in tonight. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being the best little family within the Auburn family. and I'll be back with you guys again very soon. Happy Flipmas, I guess is what we're calling it now.